Let's suppose a forest with a fast animal and a slow one. A predator attacks both. The fast animal survives and the slow one dies. Over time and years, the faster animals will remain because they can escape, and the slower ones may go extinct because they are easily hunted. Same idea, an animal with thick fur and another with thin fur. When the cold intensifies, the first one survives, and the second one dies. Over time, animals with thick fur remain. This is the concept of natural selection in simple terms, as Darwin calls it. The result is a law called survival of the fittest and the extinction of the weakest. The fittest means the strongest, the fastest, the smartest, and so on. Clear idea? All right, Adolf Hitler, the Nazi leader of Germany, the butcher responsible for the death of millions of humans. If we ask the question, where did all this cruelty come from? What was the foundation of Hitler's thinking? The Quran? Sahih al-Bukhari? In 2006, the American historian Richard Weikart authored a book titled From Darwin to Hitler, in which he proved that Hitler's idea was founded on Darwin's theory. But wait, how? Darwin was a man of science. What does he have to do with Hitler and the Nazi crimes? Well, Darwin says in his view of ethics that a person who doesn't believe in God can establish a law for his life simply by following the inner calls he feels are the best. Your feelings? If you feel inside that the person in front of you is better off dead, then simply, the poor guy is gone. Okay, someone else might say, hey, that's a crime. Here they say ethics are relative. What you see as a crime, someone else might see as a virtue. It's normal, meaning there is no fixed moral law that everyone agrees on. That's what Darwinists say. And as a result of this theory, the Nazis viewed their crimes as great virtues, even as salvation for humanity. Someone might tell you, but I didn't see a clear link between Hitler and Darwin. In his famous book Mein Kampf, Hitler clearly put several evolutionary ideas, like survival of the fittest and the extermination of the weak, to produce a better society. Hitler was a staunch believer in evolution and a preacher of it. As historian Heckman says, Hitler was a loyal disciple of his teacher Darwin, a practical applied example of this theory. He saw that the Aryan race, the blonde with blue eyes, were the best, and thus survival was for them, and death for those below them. The disabled, both old and young, even infants, were placed in gas chambers and eliminated. Hitler killed around 20 million people in just a few years. Got the connection? One of the fruits of evolutionary theories is that they justify racism and brutality, and even grant colonialism ethical legitimacy. How? Europeans saw themselves as a developed race, and the rest of humanity as backward and savage races, according to this theory and the principle of survival of the fittest. So, the developed races have the right to eliminate the savage races, whom they see as merely human apes that must disappear from existence. This is not just theoretical. The English exterminated 90% of the population of Australia and justified it with natural selection, even saying explicitly, "We are implementing the law of natural selection without mercy. We are the strong, and we eliminate the inferior Australian races." Communism, too, the atheistic doctrine influenced by the theory of evolution, caused over 100 million deaths, as Professor Rummel mentions in his book, Death by Government. The theory of evolution is the foundational principle upon which atheistic views rest. There is no good and evil in atheism, and thus no room for ethics in the atheistic discourse. If God does not exist, then everything is permissible, as Dostoevsky says. Pleasure and enjoyment are the goal in atheism. Take, for example, pornography. In the atheistic worldview, as long as these films generate huge profits for companies, what's the problem? What makes these acts evil? Aren't ethics relative? What you see as evil, someone else sees as beneficial, a source of money for them. Do atheists have a list of forbidden and prohibited things? For example, all religions forbid rape. Does atheism forbid rape? Moschino says in his book, The Disorder of the Atheist Personality, pornography was born from the womb of atheism, and atheism is the religion of savagery. In a study conducted at the University of California, 50% of men said they had no problem raping women if they were sure there were no consequences. This is what atheism does to the moral system. Atheism does not establish objective morals, and the atheist cannot prove that genocide and rape are heinous acts based on an objective foundation, as Professor William Lane Craig says. True, the atheist may denounce these acts, but he cannot objectively prove it. Atheism is close to nihilism and moral relativism, as it is based on the theory of evolution and natural selection. All of this, and Darwinism, is just a theory, not a scientific fact or a fixed universal law, meaning it is subject to belief or disbelief. In scientific circles, there are those who have refuted the theory, and some scientists even considered it the opinions of children. But the question is, why does the atheist insist on considering it a proven scientific fact and defending it? Simply because it saves him from the question of creation. The atheist without it is in a dilemma, unable to explain how the first human came to be, but in reality, he is like a drowning man clinging to a straw. Our true religion forbids racism and forbids arrogance and pride, and affirms that all people are equal. There are no superior races and no inferior races, and no one in Islam has the right to oppress or assault anyone without just cause. Our Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "You are all from Adam, and Adam was created from dust." Peace be upon you.